sir is also there.
Yes. So now still 10 more minutes are there.
Yes, sir.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah. My voice is clear, na?
Very clear.
Very clear,
Yeah.
sir.
What about the picture? My face?
Yes, sir. It is clear, sir.
Okay. Any disturbance from my room?
No, sir. No, sir. It's very clear.
Okay, fine. Yes. Thank you. So finally, you are coming to end of the day program,
Yes, sir.
FDP.
Yes, sir.
So Monday onwards, you may be very busy with your regular because now everyone is going to start online classes.
Yeah, it's already started, sir.
Okay, acha, already started,
Yeah, yes, sir. On 24th onwards, classes are started.
Oh, okay. So this is a additional extra responsibility.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Exactly, sir.
Since you committed, so that's why you are doing.
It's all part of academics, sir. We have to do.
Yeah, yes.
With all your kind support, we are able to do. Otherwise, it's not possible.
Yeah.
And it is an opportunity to interact with the resource persons. They great their
Yeah.
research and recent.
You found many good people. 4 days previous speakers.
Yes, sir. This Corona pandemic, it given an opportunity to us.
Yeah, yes. Otherwise, inviting them and arranging a real conference, it is a Herculean task.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Exactly, sir.
So virtual conferences can be organized, from anywhere from the world.
Yes, sir. Even international conference are also organizing.
Yes. Now no need to think about their travel expenses, accommodation. Nothing is there.
Yes, sir. And it saves a lot of time also.
Time and money.
Time and money, exactly, sir.
Money, crores of rupees, na? If you think about the country wise, so many activities.
Yes, sir.
So it is nothing but saving to our economy only.
Yes, sir.
So how was the responsible last 4 days?
It was excellent, sir. It was
Okay.
good response from all the participants. Very good, good interaction took place. Yesterday, Professor Raju Ranjan from IASC.
Yeah. Yes.
He extended up to 1 o'clock.
Oh.
Though the scheduled time was for 12:30 actually, but because a lot of interactions, it extended up to 1 p.m.
Hitam being committed to the student learning and student success. That makes a marked difference in terms of culture that Hitam has created for its students. The faculty members who are qualified and committed to student success, and we should have collaboration with industry and other institutions for co-designing, delivering of courses, placements, and research. That ecosystem should promote entrepreneurial spirit among students. All these things put together form essential ingredients of vibrant engineering education ecosystem. And I see all these elements present on Hitam campus, and I wish Hitam all the best.
Yeah, good morning, one and all. I am Uma Maheshwar Singh, coordinator of 5-day faculty development on research trends on materials and science and technology. I heartily welcoming you on the behalf of Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce my beloved guru and guide, is the speaker of the day, who is going to speak on developments of ultra high pure metals. Today we are pleased to welcome Dr. Y. Purushottam sir, a very special guest of honor from CMET, Hyderabad. CMET is Center for Materials for Electronic Technology. It's a great privilege to introduce sir. Sir education qualifications. He did his Bachelor of Science from Osmania University with first class, and Master in Science in Physics, Kakatiya University. He got 8th rank in Master of Science from university, and he did his PhD from Osmania University in the year of 1996. Sir achievements: automation of sodium reduction system and quality improvement in tantalum metal powder, supply of 30 kg tantalum powders to DMRL Hyderabad, technology transfer of structural grade tantalum powder to Unbound Limited Chennai, and sodium reduction process demonstration at a 3 kg batch size, and niobium metal and hybriding and dehydrating process of EB melting hafnium metal sponge by Curls reduction and MG distillation process, demonstration of process technology to VSSC, established a high temperature microwave sintering furnace and made it suitable for the sintering of refractory metal and ceramic powders. Synthesis and characterization of ZNO, ZNS, nanomaterials and nickel zinc nanoferrites. Automation of Hanfium process plant, establishment of corals reduction facility for extend pilot scale preparation of hafnium metal, preparation of 35 kg hafnium reduced mass and 15 kg hafnium metal sponge. Established automated introduction zone refining system and developed ultra high pure 7N germanium. Developed ultra high pure 7N zinc and converted into less than 3 mm diameter Brunels. Apart from that, SAR has publications, more than 70 publications. Citations of his publications are 1655 overall, and in that high indexed are 11, I-10 indexed are 12. And SAR also have doing a project, did his projects. And presently, there are 2 projects are going on, and he has completed 10 projects. SAR awards and honors. SAR is honored with a Senior Research Fellowship in the year of 1995 to 96 from CSIR Government of India, and also honored by a Research Associate Council, again CSIR Government of India. And SAR awarded Young Research Award for the best paper presentation during the 4th IUMRS International Conference in Asia, in Japan in 1997. And SAR also Boy Scout Fellowship in the year 2002 to 2003, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. And visiting scientist at Microwave Processing and Engineering Centers in the year 2002 to 2003, the Pennsylvania State University, USA. SAR biography also listed in the following publications, which are Who's and Who, USA 2002 to 2012. In that, Who's and Who in Science and Engineering and Who's and Who in the World. SAR also honored with Associate Fellow, Andhra Pradesh Academy of Science in the year of 2004. And SAR also Executive Member of Material Research Society of India, Hyderabad chapter 2005 to 2013. And also he has convener for the same MRSI Hyderabad chapter 2015 to till date. SAR also fellow of the Telangana Academy of Science in the year 2016. And he was a honor treasurer for the Telangana Academy Society 2018 to till date. And he is also honor treasurer IIM Hyderabad chapter 2012 to 2014, and then 2018 to still date. And SAR also organizing secretary for the first Telangana State Science Congress 2018, December 22 to 24th in 2018 in NIT Warangal. SAR also organizer and resource person for the more than 40 each national and international seminars, workshops, and conferences and lectures, and so on. With that, I ask you to give your full attention to the SAR talks and help me to once again welcoming a SAR. Please hand over the session, sir. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity, and welcome once again, sir.
Thank you, Uma Maheshwar. Is it my slides are visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
What about audio?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. So thank you. I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Title of my presentation is Development of Ultra High Pure Metals. So I'm working as a scientist at CMET, Scientific Society, under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and we are located at Charlapalli. So in this presentation, briefly I will mention about the organization, then what are our R&D activities, and purity, purification, then what is the technology of purified materials, then two projects ongoing projects. So this on 8th March 1990, CMET has been established with the main objectives are to establish the technology up to pilot scale for a range of electronics materials and transfer the same to the industry for commercialization, to undertake applied research activities in the area of its operation, and to establish relevant materials characterization facilities. So CMET operates in a project mode and implementing strong core programs with a great technology impact, and undertaking sponsored grant-in-aid projects, strives to develop critical materials and carry out customer-driven R&D activities. And there are many achievements in the developing products and process for various critical electronic materials, and getting duly recognized by the user industries and the strategic sectors. So this table gives the institutions in India working on electronic materials and devices. There are so many institutions are there. Serial number 22 is a CMET Hyderabad, and CMET Hyderabad has been identified as a source for the high purity, ultra high purity materials, cadmium, tellurium, and others are also there. Since we are working on project mode, so there are many opportunities are there for students, and from diploma to diploma, BSc, MSc, BTech, MTech, PhD, and like this, even after PhD also one can work as a research associate. So my advice to the students is that just to go through this website, our website, and we have 3 laboratories, and many are there. So those who are interested, those who are qualified and interested, they can apply and appear for the interviews. So this is the say 3 centers are there in India, and our ministry is MITI, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology at New Delhi, Pune, Hyderabad, and Thrissur. So 3 laboratories are working in 3 different areas, and Pune laboratory is our headquarter. Core competence of this Pune laboratory is processing thick film materials and chemicals, and electronic packaging, sensors, optoelectronic materials they are developing. And in case of Thrissur laboratory, high-tech electroceramic processing is the core competence, and multi-layer ceramic packaging, multi-layer actuators, microwave substrates are working. Aerogel capacitors, they are working on in these kind of fields. And in Hyderabad laboratory, our core competence is ultra purification of materials, high purity metals and alloys, compound semiconductors, electronic waste, ROHS testing, certification, refractory metals. So in this one, actually, Uma Maheshwar suggested me to little bit elaborate on electronic waste, because it is a very interesting like that. So I am going to take a few more minutes on the electronic waste also. So this is R&D activities of Hyderabad laboratory is ultra high purity metals. So far 3 metals purification process technology has been developed, that is tellurium, cadmium, and gallium, and germanium and zinc also. Now recently we completed that technology also. And in terms of refractory metals activity, these are the 3 metals. So tantalum, niobium, and hafnium we are extracting from the ore. So we developed the process technology. And hafnium, as far as hafnium is concerned, we are the first laboratory in the country to develop this hafnium at a pilot scale preparation, and we are supplying to the VSSC on regular basis. And these are the refractory metals: tungsten, molybdenum, rhenium, niobium, tantalum, hafnium, osmium, and ruthenium. So this osmium and ruthenium are for basic R&D, whereas remaining all are having major industrial relevance. And widely accepted definition of the refractory metals is that melting temperature is more than 2000 degrees centigrade. So this is a same in a graphical mode. And because of its properties, on its own properties, it is having a number of applications. For example, it is a high melting point materials. So they have applications in high temperature applications, and highly corrosive resistance materials. So they are applying in chemical engineering applications. Because of low electrical resistance, they have a high temperature wiring, and low vapor pressure and evaporation rate. They are having a number of applications in vacuum and furnaces. These refractive metal powders. And this is a purity, ultra high purity, this one. So you can see here is that 99.9. So this is 3 nines. It means that 0.1 percentage are the impurities. If you take in percentage, it is a 0.1%, whereas if you take in ppm level, it is 1000 ppm. So some of the strategic devices where this starting material should be of ultra high pure. In that case, if where these impurities are playing a major role on the performance of the devices, there it has to be reduced substantially as much as possible. So in that activity, we developed the process technology that we are concentrating only on the impurities reduction. So from 1000 ppm to, we developed the process technology up to 0.1 ppm for different metals. So there is a lot of value addition is there from the 3N to 7N, because the same metal, if you take any one metal of this cost is from 3N to 7N, there is an enormous jump is there, and which is not available also. So in that context, our laboratory is working on develop the process technology, and we transferred also this technology to one industry, and it is going on. Another important activity of defense activity is that ultra high quality silicon carbide single crystals for say advanced electronic devices. This is a sublimation reactor. This is a physical vapor transport based on the PVT technique. So we are growing the 6H SiC single crystal and 4H single crystal, and we are supplying to DRDO. And this is the one society related activity, e-waste management. So this e-waste is nothing but electronic waste, where end of life electrical and electronic items which are of no use, they are called as a electronic waste. And because of advancement in the technology, now every day tons of items are converting into e-waste because of its societal importance or status or whatever, fashion. There are many reasons are there why e-waste is accumulating. So normal, for example, if you take any mobile phones, this normal phone, this is also very few now because of smartphones. Everyone is preferring smartphones. Even in that one also features are there. So it is like that because of the status or fashion or advancement in the technology. This electronic waste is accumulation like anything. So government of India has identified, and they give a responsibility to CMET Hyderabad to develop the process technology to what is that extract the precious metal from the PCB, this printed circuit boards, because this e-waste is there is a variety of e-waste is there. So some of the first we have to, if you take any, for example, if you take any CPU, and in the CPU you have to dismantle manually or automatically, you have to segregate the components like capacitors, resistors, ICs. There are so many varieties of components will be there that you have to segregate. So dismantling, then segregation, then depopulation. After that one only this PCB will come. So here this activity we are taking now, it is in a big way, and now technology is already developed at 100 kg per day, and it is going on. But in the country, this e-waste is handling unorganized sector by more than 80%, whereas 20% only organized sectors are there. So this is a lot of giving problems to the environment and the individual also for their health. They are, they're becoming, hazardous, exposing to hazardous environment, and this kind of unscientific methods, and they are themselves taking into risk. So it is going on, but still government is trying to convert this unorganized sector into organized sector. So for that purpose we took a big responsibility, and we are trying our level best, and we are going to provide a training how to dismantle and segregation, then depopulation, as per the whatever the process technology we developed. Accordingly we are going to train them, and we have to see that country should have a certified recyclers more than unorganized, unskilled processing, so that this now this is a big responsibility. It is going on. So if you see the PCB, for example, this is the composition of a typical PCB, computer PCB particularly, and where you can see this one. So for any electronic, high-end electronics, and in this one it is a combination of so many components. So this manufacturing itself is an art. It is not simple, but this the way is e-waste is accumulating, and a lot of precious metals are there in the PCBs. So now we developed the process technology, and this is the composition, and in this one you can see 70% of the is a glass reinforced polymer only in a PCB, and 16% is the copper, and iron, and ferrite, which comes from transformer cores, is 3%. Nickel is 2%, silver is 0.05%, palladium 0.03%, gold is 0.03%. If you take one PCB, these precious metals, gold, palladium, silver, are very minimum in milligram level. But if you take a 1 ton, 10 tons, something like that, then it is a substantial amount of gold, palladium, silver will be available. So now this unorganized sectors, what they are doing, they are extracting up to copper, and after that one it is going to the they are giving to other countries, and we are losing the valuable metals, and it is becoming a problem to the nation also. We are importing gold, because as the gold price is increasing now, this there is a lot of demand for this PCB scrap. So Cement Hyderabad developed the process technology, and this is again with the rapid development of technology, more and more electronic waste is being generated, and this e-waste contains both toxic and valuable materials. It can become valuable resources if treated in a proper way. So that only 20% of the sectors, organized sectors only are treating in a proper way. Remaining are they are doing on their own. And recovering of the metals contained in e-waste is a main economic driving force. On the other hand, e-waste can harm the environment and human health greatly if treated improperly, such as open burning and acid leaching, whatever just now I showed the photographs. And mechanical physical processing is attracting more and more interest for its easier operability and better environmental properties. Even mechanical physical method is to crush e-waste into particles of a certain size. Then the metals are separated from the non-metals by electrostatic separation or other techniques. The existing processes. So there is a number of startups or those who are having a interest there to start their own business. So they can there is a plenty of chances to become entrepreneurs, and we are trying to attract the youth, and those who are showing interest. If they want to generate collection of e-waste, then dismantling and segregation of components, and then components has to go to their respective places. This is a own business also. So there are a number of scopes are there to become a self-employment, and these startups, entrepreneurs like that. So this is the process flow chart, and we have a tie-up with the industries, and where we are getting this depopulated PCBs, and that from there there is a depopulation, calcination, smelting, and then electro refining for copper. After that one, hydrometallurgical process, solvent extraction, where we are getting precious metals, gold, silver, and palladium. So this is a 100 kg per day. Now it is going on, and we are upgrading that to 500 kg per day. Then finally we have to show to the 1000 kg, 1 ton per day process. Then only it is economically viable. And this as of 100 kg per day also, we transferred one industry. Technology has been transferred, and they were visiting, and they are getting trained how to handle this e-waste and other things. So this is a one societal related activity we are doing. And another important this, my slides are clear, na? Visible?
Yes, sir. It is very clear.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. So another, testing facility for ROHS compliance. It is a government, first government-owned laboratory. And if you are an exporter or the part of the electrical and electronic supply chain, your products will have to comply with the ROHS regulations. Otherwise, the firm will be eligible for penalty as per e-waste rule 2016. So the limit of restriction of the presence of hazardous substances are less than 0.01% for cadmium and less than 0.1% for lead, hexavalent chromium, mercury, polybrominated biphenyls, and polybrominated diphenyl ethers. So this is nothing but these are the manufacturers of different electronic components which are exporting their product to the European Union. And not only exporting, even within the country, whatever we are going to use, this product has to be ROHS compliance. And these are the 6 elements which are identified, and these are the limits are there. For example, lead 1000 milligram per kg, and cadmium 100 milligram per kg, mercury 100 milligram per kg. So hexavalent chromium 1000 milligram per kg. And this polybrominated biphenyls and diphenyl ethers are 1000 mg per kg. So this limits is nothing. This is the restriction of hazardous limits. And we developed the process technology to analyze. So analytical techniques, how to analyze a component. Non-destructive testing is there, and destructive testing, both are there. So we are helping to the industries, MSME, micro, small, medium entrepreneurs, those who are already manufacturers, so which are not able to procure such a high cost equipments. Being a government, we are having state of the art characterization equipments, and we are more than 200 industries now we are taking care, and they are giving the sample, and we are analyzing and giving the ROHS compliance certificate. And our laboratory has been accredited as per the NABL accreditation, as per this ISO 17025/2005. So this is a this is nothing but ISO type. Quality we have to maintain, and there are certain records, everything, and it is renewable also. Every 3 years we are renewing. We are accredited under chemical testing. So these kind of equipments are there: EDXRF, atomic absorption spectrometer, ICP-OES, ICP-MS, then ion chromatograph, UV visible spectrometer, and gas GCMS, and macro digestion system. So these are all required for that kind of ROHS, for giving a certification, ROHS limits. So this is nothing but what are the uses of this is anyway textbook information only. EDXRF and GCMS, then ICP-MS. This is very popular for elemental analysis. So which can simultaneously measure most elements in the periodic table and determine analyte concentration up to parts per billion or parts per trillion level. So a large number of elements ranging from lithium to uranium at a high mass are simultaneously analyzed within 1 to 3 minutes. So ICP-MS performs multi-element analysis with excellent sensitivity and high sample throughput. So these are the advantages of this one. And these, so far we have discussed briefly about the whatever the R&D activities of other laboratories and our laboratories. So now we are going to concentrate on this development of ultra high pure metals. So again, I am bringing the same slide. So this is a 3N 99.9 is this purity itself is a sufficient for many domestic and applications, many applications, important applications, this itself is sufficient. Whereas where the impurities are playing a major role in the performance of the devices, there only this reduction is required. So for strategic applications, defense, space, and atomic energy, some of the electronic, these are the devices which are strategic nature. This kind of devices, this starting material should be of 7N grade. So for night vision binoculars and detectors, then solar space space applications, then these for missiles applications, all these, for example, mercury, cadmium, and tellurium of 7N. So cadmium, zinc, tellurium of 7N. So gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, all wherever. So this starting material should be of 7N purity. That's why we developed this process technology. And here, this is a very well known to we all knows that impurity elements are removed from the base metal by eventually transforming them from one phase to the other, whether from liquid to solid, solid to gas, gas to liquid. So these are the very well known process, purification processes, where distillation, electrolysis, crystallization, zone refining, chemical zone sublimation, and sublimation. So for economic refining are the very effective. From the up to through distillation, we can purify up to 5N, and from 5N to 7N zone refining, we are following the method. So here, starting material of any metal, whether it is a tellurium, cadmium, zinc, whatever is there, so of 3N grade, then it will be subjected to vacuum distillation process, where the output of this vacuum distillation will be of 5N, and that 5N material will be loaded for zone refining, and then the zone purified material of 7N pure material after zone refining, and we are going to analyze by either ICP-MS or GD-MS. So this is the way, and after purified material will be packed in a proper way, and everything, entire process from here to here should be in the clean room. So there are two physical important properties are there: vapor pressure and distribution coefficient of impurities. So this is a table which is published in Journal of Crystal Growth in 1996 by some other journal. I took that one as a reference. So here, if you want to purify a certain one material, target material, depending upon the vapor pressure of that one. So high vapor pressure, for example, if you take the zinc, if you want to purify the zinc metal, then this high vapor pressure of more than zinc, there are some elements are there, impurities are there. These are all, for example, mercury, sulfur, carbon, CSP, K, cadmium, selenium, arsenic, sodium. So high vapor pressure more than zinc will be removed first by the distillation, and in the second distillation process, with the zinc, some other also will come and find it. So this is the way we are doing this distillation process. And after that one, whatever the zinc distilled material, it is not only just only zinc, there will be some certain impurities are also there. Again, in the zone refining, the distribution coefficient, majority of the impurities, if you see from this graph, all are below 1. Only few, for example, this like this, this AG is there and LI is there. These are only above 1. So which is further it is difficult to, otherwise the distribution coefficient which are having impurities less than 1 are easily removable by refining. So this is a requirement of clean room, and the number of 2.5 micron and above size particles in 1 cubic feet area will be less than or equal to 10,000. So this class 10,000 clean room is there and in our laboratory, and this clean room environment ensures prevention from settling of impurity particles, such as so many are there, normally available floating in the atmosphere. So this kind of specialized experiments we have to do in a clean room because this kind of impurities which are floating normally in the atmosphere can be prevented. So in the distillation process, this is the distillation allows separation of the major matrix, for example, in the case of zinc, from other impurities by vaporizing at its boiling point due to differences in saturated vapor pressures of impurities, and impurities having low vapor pressures and higher boiling points compared to major zinc will be discarded as a residue. So, and here coming to the zone refining. So this is the principle of zone refining is to move a heater. This is a circular heater that melts a zone of the material which can accumulate impurities. The impurities are swept to the ends of the ingot depending on the value of segregation coefficient. The heater is next moved too fast to the left and the process is repeated several times. The characteristic effect of zone refining is to accumulate impurities at the ends of an ingot, thus leaving pure material in the central section. So the final distribution of impurities depends on the size, number and the direction of the travel of the zones, on the distribution of the impurity in the original charge and on an intrinsic property of the impurity known as the distribution coefficient. If you take any metal bar which is of 5N, because after distillation we are loading this material for the zone refining purpose. So this is a solid metal, and if you take one heater which we are heating up to melting point of this metal, then this heater, whatever the diameter of this dimensions of this heater is there, this much portion only will be in the liquid zone. So whereas here this side is a both condition, but this will be in the liquid zone, liquid condition, liquid status, whereas this is a solid, and solid liquid interface and liquid to solid, and whatever the impurities are there in this zone, in this liquid zone, depending upon the distribution of the distribution coefficient, these impurities will be segregated towards the ends, either this side or that side. So if you for example, if the heater moving from left to right, then from left to right this is a one pass, and after completion of the one pass, if you analyze, the impurities will be segregated towards the ends, this side and that side, and if you cut the this ingot, you can find that this middle portion will be having a high pure than both ends, because these impurities which are there in this one are segregated towards the ends. And this zone refining technique was described by a USA scientist, Professor Fan, and was used in the early 1950s to purify germanium for transistors. The zone refining technique is conducted with one or more molten zones moved in the direction of the ingot axis. The material with the impurity concentration less than 1 ppb can be produced by the zone refining technique. If the presence of impurity reduces the melting point temperature of the material, then its concentration will decrease in the solidified section of the ingot. If the melting point temperature increases, the concentration would also increase. Therefore, a freezing interface can reject or attract the impurities. With this method, we can remove unwanted impurities from most of the ingot and push them to the ends. This process of zone refining will be repeated until the desired purity is achieved. So we are doing number of passes. We are increasing the number of passes, and we did so many experiments and it was found that majority of metallic impurities such as zinc, copper, lead, bismuth, iron, nickel, chromium, etc. accumulated at the tail end section of the ingot, while in the middle region of the impurity level was much below than the initial concentration. So it is like this, and this zone melting has proved to be extremely powerful and versatile technique for many applications, such as the purification of metals, preparing multi-component eutectic alloys, helping to analyze for trace impurities, determining portions of phase diagrams, and providing the semiconductor industry with very pure germanium and silicon. So you can see here after more number of passes. So this A, B, C, D is nothing but this 15, 30, 45 and 60 passes. If you take any particular impurity, these are all the different impurities versus, you know, number of passes. If you take, you can see here, you see these are all the different impurities. And you can see this 15 passes, 30 passes, 45 and 60 passes. If the number of processes are increasing, the impurities concentration is decreasing like anything. Even gaseous impurities also, oxygen, carbon and nitrogen. And these are another impurities. So wherever you see, if you increase the number of passes, this you know, segregation is very effective and we can get ultra high pure metals. So the distillation is efficient at lower purity range from 3N to 5N, whereas zone refining is efficient at a high purity range from 5N to 7. And there are some, you know, you have to play with the certain to optimize the proper, you know, process, vacuum level, vapor pressures of impurities at soaking temperature and area of evaporating surface play the key roles for the effective distillation. And the segregation coefficient of impurities at zoning temperature, zone width, zone travel speed control the zone refining. Distillation is a purification process brought about during liquid vapor liquid transformation, whereas zone refining is a liquid to solid and vice versa at freezing or melting point. As in the beginning we discussed, so liquid, solid and gas. So this is a distillation is a liquid vapor liquid transformation, and this is a liquid to solid. And this is the status of the technology developed. So we have developed the, you know, these three metals. CMED Hyderabad developed technology for purification of tellurium, cadmium and gallium. And we have a requisite infrastructure and indigenous process equipment. All the whatever the equipments we, you know, developed, you know, designed, it is totally indigenous equipments only and fabricated. The process technology to purify tellurium, cadmium up to 7N purity have been successfully developed, and the material is tested by the NRC, the National Research Council, Canada, on GDMS. And you know, substantial quantity of tellurium and cadmium we supply to SSPL DRDO for optoelectronic device fabrication. And this 6N pure cadmium technology we transferred to one industry that is called Messrs. Binani Zinc Limited for regular production. And you know, the discussions are going on for the 25 kg per annum level technology transfer for this tellurium and cadmium with one public sector unit, that is Central Electronics Limited in Sahibabad, through this DRDO. And this is the air handling units. So we have a class 10,000 clean room and, you know, materials handling facility. And this is a, you know, dedicated systems are there for the, because of to avoid cross contamination, we have dedicated systems have been you know, designed and fabricated for the metals purification. So this is a vacuum distillation, and this is a vacuum distillation facility for the tellurium and cadmium. This is for zone refining facility. Instead of one heater, we are using multi heaters, and instead of one to improve the yield. So instead of one quartz tube, we are using two quartz tubes, so that you know, this batch size can be increased. And chemical analysis sampling. So this is the zone refined tellurium of 7N, and this is the analysis report of 7N. So this is a total 60 elements. This is a GDMS report, and this is a zone refined cadmium. Again, this is the analysis report. So actually, we purchased one, you know, 7N pure cadmium from one company called, its name itself is 5N plus. This is a company. So from there we compared, when we transferred this technology to Binani. During that time, we have compared, and even our material is having less impurities than this imported material. So this so far, whatever they are all the three technologies have been process technology have been developed, and these are the two ongoing activity. Actually, this recently this project has been completed, and Monday, 31st August. So this germanium project is also going to complete, and this one, and here in the Zinc, this is for detector applications. So this is a BRNS sponsored project, and the collaborators is IGCAR Kalpakam. This brief information about the Zinc, that this is a atomic number 30, melting point is 419 degrees centigrade, and 7.14 gram per cc density, and this is a high purity zinc is used for making compound semiconductors such as cadmium zinc telluride for detectors, zinc selenide for electro-optic modulators, and for doping of semiconductors to make p-type. So this is a lot of application for galvanization, anti-corrosion resistant, this one material. So zinc is available in a large quantity in the country. These are the two major industries: Hindustan Zinc Limited, Udaipur, and Binani Zinc Limited, Binanipuram, Kerala. They are the manufacturers. And zinc oxide is having a white pigment in paints. Zinc sulfide is used in, there are a number of applications. So this IGCAR is having this indigenous development for CZT, cadmium zinc telluride detector program. So which is alternative to germanium detectors. So this cadmium and tellurium, which is already we have a ultra high pure. So for zinc purpose, they gave a project to us, and we developed the process technology. And this is the detector, and these are the focusing lenses. So here, this is a triple phase equilibrium graph of zinc, and this is the process flowchart what we are doing for the purification of zinc. And input material of 3N we are buying from market. It is available plenty. So then we are doing distillation as I discussed. This is a three distillation process will be there, and first fraction, second fraction, and then residue. Then this will be the after distillation. This is the purity, sometimes 5N or more than 5N. Then that will be uniformly melted to make a bar, and that bar will be zone refined. Then this first portion, middle portion, last portion, the segregation will be, impurities will be segregated towards the ends. So middle portion will be having a ultra high pure, and this is the characterization we have to analyze by either ICP-MS or GDMS. Then the output material will be of 7N. So these are the process parameters. The efficiency of purification of zinc using vacuum distillation depends on diffusion of volatile components in the melt, evaporation rate from the melt surface as given by that equation, transportation of vapors, condensation at the collector, and solidification. The rate determining step for distillation is diffusion through melt at high temperature, evaporation at low vapor pressure and moderate temperature, transport of vapors at high vapor pressure, condensation at distillation temperature and time for distillation possible through a series of trial experiments is a critical deciding factor for efficient purification and acceptable yield. So this is a again the same graph I used, and this is the distillation setup for zinc. So here these are the two graphite crucibles are there, and I will show you this. This is the schematic drawing of the distillation setup, where these are the two crucibles are there, and in the bottom crucible we are loading the material. So this schematic drawing diagram of the essential components of vacuum distillation system used is shown in the figure. It consists of mainly a pit furnace. This is the furnace. Then a retort flange assembly, evaporator collector condenser setup, cold trap, vacuum system using rotary and diffusion pumps, two cylindrical crucibles, one as the evaporator and the other one as the collector, are made up of isostatic fine grain high density graphite. So here we are loading the material to be purified in this bottom crucible, and then we are putting the top crucible in a reverse so that both will be in the say, uniform straight line, and these both crucibles will be loaded in a retort, and that retort will be closed with a flange, and this flange, entire retort will be kept in a furnace. And when we are heating, and this furnace will be connected to the vacuum system, and after evacuation, because under vacuum this boiling point will be reduced, so for that purpose this high vacuum is required. And when we heat up to melting point of this metal, whatever the metal to be purified, for example, if you take the zinc, this melting point is 419 degrees centigrade, and we have to heat above 419 degrees centigrade, for example 430 degrees centigrade. If you heat it, whatever the material you have taken, that solid metal will be converted into liquid phase, and during the conversion of this phase, the impurities which are having a low vapor pressure, means low boiling point, high vapor pressure and low boiling point, because of vacuum this boiling point also will be reduced, and those who are impurities are having low melting point materials than zinc, they will be evaporated, and all this, and here this will come into contact here. Then since this here it is a cold water circulation is there to create a temperature gradient, and this starts whatever the vapors are coming, and it starts condensing here in the top crucible. So this is the way. This is the bottom crucible and this is the top crucible. We are keeping in a reverse, so that this bottom of this crucible will be connected to one a copper coil is there. This coil is nothing but this is a cold water circulation. This is connected to a chiller. Reason for cold water circulation is that this will be touched to this bottom of this one, so that what will happen, this will be always less temperature, because both crucibles we are keeping in furnace. Compared to here, this will be low temperature, and whatever the vapors after reaching the melting point of that metal to be purified, impurities which are having less less melting point, less boiling point of this metal, those they will be in a vapor state, and it will start coming to here, and because of this is a low temperature, then this is starting starts solidification. So whatever after completion of the experiment, when we loaded in this bottom crucible, only metal will be there. After completion of this experiment, here this entire crucible in a hat shape, that impurities will come, and this is a balanced material will be here. Then in the second distillation, because this is a high vapor pressure, means impurities are there, that will be removed. And then in the second distillation experiment, only we are going to increase the temperature than the first melting point, first distillation setup, so that zinc only will come out here. And in the second distillation, this will be loaded. In the second distillation, only zinc only will come out. So like this we used to do. And this is the raw material, and we are loading in the bottom crucible as I shown. And after experiment, whatever the impurities are purified, this will be vaporized and it will be condensed in the top crucible. Since this is in this way, it will come out as a hat. You see, it is easily, since it is the entire experiment is under vacuum. So after bringing to the room temperature, we can it will be easily we can take it out, and you see the raw material and purified material. It is a shining, lot of shining will be there because of impurities have been removed. So like this distilled whatever the crucible shape is there, hat. This is the distilled zinc, and this when we loaded 4 kg of raw material after distillation, you see this is almost 50%, 1938 grams. So 50% was the yield was there. Then this also further we improved. Here we can see total complete the process. You see raw material we are loading, and after first fraction removal, this high vapor pressure impurities will be removed in the first fraction like this. Then the residue will be loaded for the first distillation experiment, and where this is the outcome. This is nothing but zinc plus some impurities, and in the this is the first list distillation. After this, only after first distillation, this will be the input material for the second distillation, and here only zinc only will come out. So if you analyze with the ICP-MS or GDMS, this is the 5N, 99.999% purity. So you can see here also, and very effective, process, because you see, for example, the starting material, input material, lead is in 1.5%. Other impurities are in ppm, but whereas it is even percentage, and after distillation, you see it is 0.45 ppm level. So thus that much effective this distillation experiment. 98.85 was the starting input material distillation. After distillation, this is the purity, and this was analyzed using ICP-OS equipment. So after distillation, this we are cutting into pieces to make a ingot, and this will be again melted up to, we have to heat up to melting point of this metal so that it will become a bar for zone refining. So this is the ingot. This we are loading for zone refining, and this is a resistive zone refining system. And here, instead of one heater, we have 3 heaters, and we are from one end to the other end. These heaters are moving, and depending upon 15, 30, 60, we have to optimize the process parameters. And finally, we are getting the this is a analysis report by HR ICP-MS, which was analyzed at NJRI, and this confirms the 7N pure zinc metal. So as per the project, this is the 7N, this one. As per this BRNS project, they want not as an ingot, they want as a granules. So for that one, we designed a special granulation system. This is again simple system only, but here inside there is a graphite crucible is there, where one small this is there pin with the here. What we are doing, this will be under we are evacuating, and after loading the zone refined ingot, we are heating up to melting point of this one. Then there is a graphite pin is there. So that pin, when we are manually, if you are opening that one, this will start decreasing here from here. So initially there was a it was liquid. Immediately lot of agglomeration was only taking place. There was no shots at all. So we lot of experiments we carried out, and finally we got as per the requirement. So these are the zinc circular shots of less than 3 mm, because they want this in a granules only. So as per the project deliverables, we prepared this in this project 2 kg of 7N zinc we have to supply these granules, but we have prepared 1.7 kg of granules, and we are going to supply to the IG car. So they are going to make this CZT alloys, cadmium zinc tellurium alloys, for detector applications. This another activity is the recycling of scrap germanium to ultra high pure germanium, and this is a DRDO project. So this coming Monday, 31st August, is the project is going to complete. And here in this one also, this is a germanium is a very well-known material, semiconducting material, and number of applications are there: infrared optics, fiber optic systems, polymer catalysis, phosphorus, metallurgy, chemotherapy. So here they are making germanium single crystals by Jakrowski technique, by SSPL, Solid State Physics Laboratory, Delhi. They are making for their regular optoelectronic device fabrication. And during the Jakrowski crystal growth process, a good amount of germanium is getting contaminated in the process. So that contaminated germanium they are simply storing, and they when they came to know about our activity, purification activity, our strength and achievements, so they contacted management and to where is it possible to convert this contaminated germanium into again 7N germanium, so that they can reuse this contaminated germanium for their regular activity. So I submitted a proposal and I got this project. So recycling scrap germanium to ultra high pure germanium. This is the process flow chart. So we are taking scrap germanium as it is, then we analyzed after that one. And here, since germanium is a melting point of germanium is 940 degrees centigrade, 938. And here, you see, you might have seen here, this is a resistive zone refining, because heating is a resistance heating. And since these are all the low melting point materials below 500 degrees centigrade, whether you take tellurium, cadmium, and this zinc, they are all 500 degrees centigrade less melting point materials. But if you resistive heating is sufficient for to melt this material, whereas this high melting materials like germanium, which is difficult to get 1000 degrees centigrade by this resistive heating. So for that purpose, this induction heating is only alternative to the resistive heating. So here in this project, we proposed one induction zone refining system, and that was we zone refined this contaminated germanium by induction zone refining. Then we analyzed, and it is absolutely 7N zinc, more than 7N also we prepared. Then we melted and casting and the packaging. So now here in this project, again the deliverables are there. 5 kg of 7N germanium we have to supply to SSPL as a project. So these are one of the specialty of our CMET, whatever the projects we are handling so far, is a deliverables are there. Product has to come and that has to go to next level. So this induction heating is the process of heating an electrically conducting object by electromagnetic induction through heat generated in the object by eddy currents. So this is a very well-known technique. Induction melting is a very popular for the industries for a high, very huge, large quantity of metals. If you want to melt it and handling, induction melting is very popular. So that we applied to for a zone refining small, and here this electromagnetic induction, or simply induction, is a method of heating electrically conductive materials such as metals. The number of industrial and consumer items which undergo induction heating during some stage of their production is very large and rapidly expanding. As its name implies, induction heating relies on electrical currents that are induced internally in the material to be heated, that is the workpiece. These so-called eddy currents dissipate energy and bring about heating. The basic components of an induction heating system are in induction coil, an alternating current, power supply, AC power supply, and the workpiece itself. The coil, which may take different shapes depending on the required heating pattern, is connected to the power supply. The flow of AC current through the coil generates an alternating magnetic field which cuts through the workpiece. It is this alternating magnetic field which induces the eddy currents that heat the workpiece. In induction heating, the induction coil, which is energized by the AC power supply, serves as the primary, and the workpiece is analogous to the secondary. Induction heating finds its greatest application in the metals processing industries. Primary uses fall into the major categories of heating prior to metal working, heat treating, welding, and metal melting. A variety of other operations such as paint curing, adhesive bonding, and zone refining of semiconductors are also amenable to induction heating methods. So like this is a very popular technique, and so many advantages are there. Quick heating, development of heat within the workpiece by induction provides much higher heating rates than the convection and radiation process occur in furnaces. And fast startup, furnaces containing large amounts of refractory materials that must be heated during startup, resulting in large thermal inertia, whereas in any furnaces, the internal heating of the induction process eliminates this problem and allows much quicker startup. And high production rates, because heating times are short, induction heating often allows increased production and reduced labor costs. Other advantages that induction heating systems offer includes ease of automation and control, reduced floor space requirements, quite safe and clean working stations, low maintenance requirements. So like this, we adopted this induction zone refining and first time in CMET designed and fabricated induction zone refining system, and that has been automated and the entire process was automated, and data equation is also there. And I am not showing the picture of this our induction zone refining system because just a few months before, 3 months before, we submitted a patent. So that's why I'm not showing that actual equipment, but this is a melting output of the metal. So this is a germanium, scrap germanium, and after melting like this metal bar, and this is a ultra high pure germanium. And here this middle portion is, as we discussed, is a very ultra high pure, and this 15 grams of this piece has been I sent to NRC Canada for GDMS analysis, and we received reports, and so many batches we carried out, and now 5 kg material is ready. And because of this corona COVID pandemic, we are not able to travel. Otherwise we have to see now how to deliver this 5 kg material to the SSPL. And this is the analysis report, NRC Canada GDMS analysis report, which confirms 7N pure germanium. Total impurities are 0.1 ppm only, 100 ppb. And we are going to, material is ready. Now we have to see whether they will come here or I have to go there. And on March 8th, our foundation day, in the beginning what we discussed, our organization has been established on 8th March, and this 8th March, just few months before, we, on the occasion of our foundation day, one international conference also we organized, international conference on purification and recycling of electronic materials, ICPREM 2020, on March 8th, 9th and 10th, 3 days. So during the inauguration of the conference, symbolically I handed over this 7N germanium to SSPL. So this is the picture, and chief guest was Dr. G. Satish Reddy, Chairman DRDO, and the guest of honor was Professor V.S. Murthy, Director IIT Hyderabad, and Foundation Day lecture was delivered by Professor Animesh Jha, University of Leeds, UK. So he actually, this on behalf of SSPL, Director GATEC, Director GATEC was receiving this material of 7N germanium, and he was our DG, and he was our director, and he is our ministry representative. So like this, it is going on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. In right time, we are concluding. Now, ask some questions. Any questions from the participants? So one of the question in chat box. Sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What about lead that is coming out from printed circuit boards?
Sir, actually, that is again, it has to be reused, sir. Because 1 ton, if you take 10 tons of PCB, okay.
Okay.
So that lead will be in a kg level. It will be in the kgs level only, and it has to give back to that lead industries. Reuse.
One more thing, sir.
Tell
See,
me.
if some way of purchasing segregated e-waste.
Yeah.
So most of the labor that is involved at the, you can say, processing place will be cut down.
Yes, sir. Yes, you are right.
So whether any move is there in such direction?
Yeah. Why not? So you see, as I mentioned, there are 200 recyclers are there, certified recyclers.
Okay, sir.
In the country, and few industries are also there.
Yeah.
And these people,
yeah,
they are, engaging the labor. Where we, for example, we have a collaboration with our one industry called eParisara in Bangalore. So there they have more than 300 employees are there,
I
They
see.
are segregating this e-waste. They are dismantling and segregating, and they are taking out this PCB. But one industry, such a big country,
Yes,
one
sir.
or two industries, they are not at all sufficient.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I mentioned to 80, only 20% is the organized and 80% is unorganized. So
Yes.
that because of it is going on, so they are doing, and they are whatever the way. For example, if you take a CRT, cathode
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
CRT
Correct.
tubes,
Yeah.
and if they are not able to open, simply they are destroying with hammer.
Crushing.
Crushing, and they are taking out whatever they want. So that's why that's why we are trying to convert this organized to unorganized, bringing to organized sector, and we have to provide the training, so that this is a lot of employment opportunities are also there.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Suppose if you, the way now municipal waste is handling, if our idea is that even at district level, it may not be in mandal level, but district level, some from entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, if they are able to collect, dismantle, and they segregate these components, and they are giving that, if they are able to bring up to this PCB, that itself is a very big work.
Yeah. So of late, this is a big menace in
Yes, sir.
years to come.
Yes. Now one laboratory, such a big country, is not possible. But we are trying, by outreach programs we are organizing. We are bringing the awareness to, even for many industrialists also, they may not, engaging, guessing this much, impact is there like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are giving awareness program. We are inviting. Actually, now, Monday, this the Hyderabad MTech on recycling, e-waste recycling and management MTech course is going to start this academic year.
Okay.
And it is going to inaugurated by our secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So actually we thought of big but because of this COVID, now everything is online. So he is going to inaugurate at 2 p.m. So this MTech is there for now. MTech in e-waste recycling and management.
Definitely, it is a very good move.
Yes, sir. Because
from the
we are
societal point of view.
Yes. So we are bringing now 10 seats are there because of beginning. So this academic year, and we are going to teach we are going to take the classes by IIT and our scientists, and then practical training will be provided in our campus. We have a e-waste plant, so it is like that. So many, simultaneously we are doing this kind of activities, sir.
This is a very great, good work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So one of the question in chat box, sir, from Kiran Kumar. What are the solvents extract used for gold, silver, and palladium to extract the precious metals recovery from e-waste PCBs?
Yes. This is actually a hydrometallurgical activity. So effluents. What was his question? Effluents, solvents.
Solvents extracts.
So this is the hydrometallurgical process. After copper extraction, this electro refining, then we are converting that into TBP, tributyl phosphate, and that is the solvent, organic solvent. And this is a what is that, effluents generated also. We are taking care of effluent treatment plant. Now this hydrometallurgical process only we are doing now.
Okay. From same person, Kiran Kumar, there is another question is, mention the advantages and limitations of the MDS characterization facility.
Micro digestion system. It is a digestion. It is a advantages. This is, if you want to micro digestion, if you are not able to digest this sampling analysis purpose, then they will do this micro digestion system. It is for sampling purpose only. MDS is micro digestion system.
Okay, sir. Another question from Dr. Devaraj Du. What is the reason our nation is not focusing on collecting and purification of cost elements like gold, silver, palladium? Why we are not concentrate on these elements extraction from e-waste?
No. Why we are doing? It is going on, but because of now as the natural resources are coming down, so we are concentrating on the alternative methods. But this is it is not only new. It is going on. There are many industries are there, and this e-waste generation and this whatever the gold price whenever it is increasing, na this availability of PCBs are difficult because it is a through hawala market like that only it is going on. So no, there is nobody. Even this point was discussed even at Parliament also. So what they are doing now, we are educating and we are trying to bring this unorganized to organized. If they are able to, and what happened, what is happening every day up to copper anode copper, they are doing the process, and then whatever the rest of the material which is they don't know, because that is it contains precious metals, they are simply giving to there is a many developed other countries. So we are trying that one. It is already identified this problem.
Another question from Dr. B. Rajnikant. Can you light on multi-layer actuators, particularly metals and alloys?
Multi-layer actuators, actually they say Srimat Thrissur works, because I know very little, so it is not good for me to talk at this without knowing much details. But it is a MLCC, multi-layer actuators, and they have a tape casting machine is there. So that is a very big way it is going on work. Electroceramics.
Sir.
Madam.
Yes, sir. Very nice lecture, sir. Sir, I just wanted to ask, you are talking about the MTech program on e-waste, but the similar program we have for our students, like degree students, BSc physics students, like that?
No, madam. Only MTech is there, not at engineering level or degree level, because this is a IIT Hyderabad is going to start this academic year.
Okay.
So only direct MTech is there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Tell me, sir.
Are you providing any metal, sir, for researching purpose? Pure metal?
Any metal means?
Material means available materials in your laboratory.
No. What metal you want?
Like this is lead, another material, zinc.
What you will do? You see, availability is there. What you are going to do with that metal?
For using nano materials, sir. I am researching on nano materials.
No. Nano materials. This doesn't serve any purpose, Guru.
Okay.
Because you see, already this is a end product, na?
Yeah.
No. This is a end product. You are going through nano. You are for preparing this one only.
Yes.
So this as such metal you cannot do anything.
Okay. So is there sir characterization techniques in our laboratory?
Yeah, it is there. Because ours is basically a purification.
Okay.
Our major activity is purification. Na? So analytical characterization facility is also towards that one only. Elemental impurities. Impurities analysis. If elemental impurity analysis is useful for your activity, then yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Like that. I'm telling in that way.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any questions from participants? Yeah. Okay.
So maybe this this topic is somewhat different, na? Because topic is different. Because it's a interdisciplinary topic. Whatever I told so far is interdisciplinary. It is not only pure physics or chemistry, metallurgy, all combination.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can think for research also
Where,
in this
which
area.
field, madam? Which field?
Your purification of metals, as you are talking about all this.
Yes.
So we can do in your institute also the research work?
Yes. Why
Okay.
not? So because now we have a students, JRFs are there. They are going to register with IIT or University of Hyderabad or Usman University. It is there.
So here the MSc Physics is okay for research work. Yeah, you need MTech students.
No. MSc Physics is enough, but they have to work in our project, na.
Yes.
Suppose if you have a project and if you take any JRF and they will register with you only, how it will be related to CIMET?
Okay.
Is it?
Yes.
So yeah, like that only. Now, for example, even Umameshwar Singh is now this convener of this program. So he is doing PhD under my supervision, but he is not doing in CIMET. He is doing outside.
Okay, but experiments and analysis he can do in.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
But directly also, when there are students are there. What I want to tell is that, so those who are working in our projects, and just recently means last week only 2 JRFs joined, and they are going to register with shortly with any either university or IIT.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. There is no questions from the participants. On behalf of, sir, anybody?
Thank you, sir. Under this COVID-19, it was very informative session. I hope this type of webinar we can conduct after this COVID also. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you to organizers and speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. On behalf of Hitam, special thanks to our sir, my beloved Dr. Y. Purushottam sir. Within a short span of time, with a small notice, he accepted, even though he is very busy in scheduling, but with a small notice, he accepted. I am very grateful and thankful to the sir. Thank you very much, sir. Your speech also, this today's lecture, it is enlightened. Even though it is not related to our academy, but it's a knowledge enlightening our mind, and it is a knowledge sharing lecture it is. I'm very thankful to sir, and we all the audience and participants enjoyed your lecture. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I will hand over to our convener, Dr. Srinivas Pradeep, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, Umameshwar Singh, sir. Sir, before I go to vote of thanks, may I request the participants to speak few words about this program, any suggestions, improvements, or what's your opinion on this program? I would like to hear from you. Anyone voluntarily can speak.
Sir, myself, Pratap, sir.
Okay.
Scholar in mechanical engineering from School of Engineering and Technology, Christ Deemed to be University, Bangalore, sir. I am also doing one in the DSC project, sir, on a civil construction material. 200 webinars, sir. I have achieved around 200 certificate in the 20 FDP program, and around 180 is one-day international national webinar programs. So it was a nice experience for me, and I'm utilizing this COVID-19. And I thanks to your college organizers and all the speakers who have given the webinars. They share their knowledge for us. So it was helped us to improve our research skill also. So it was really nice, sir. 5 days program, it was very nice. Thanks to management and organizers. Thank you so much, sir. I hope you have to continue this type of webinars after this COVID-19 also.
Okay,
So
okay.
thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you for your feedback. Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Santosh Kumar?
Okay, good afternoon to everybody. The organizers I must thank to conduct such a variety of topics, right from you can say theoretical to application side, basic principles, and finally it is a societal benefit. What was the lecture today? So for organizing such a wonderful series of lectures, I must thank the organizers. Thanks one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your cooperation. Anyone else?
Hello. I just want to share my thanks to all the organizers and all. I'm Dr. Anuradha Gupta from Rishi MS Institute of Engineering and Technology. And what I want to share that even though I have done my research work very early, it means when I was doing MSc, it's 20 years now. So I was totally cut off because of my family responsibility and whatever responsibility I have. So somehow I got this message and I have attended it. This is really, I got a new energy in this 5 days. Ki I have to start my research work again. I was keenly interested in each lecture ki where I can put my interest again so that I can go for the research work. So I'm very, very happy by attending this session because these 5 days opened 5 areas of research work for me. So that's that's really an enthusiastic way out for me, and I'm looking forward for my research work by attending this FTP session. And really, I hope that you please arrange such type of FDPs in the near future also, because I think after a long time I have gone through this physics FDP, which is only for physics. So I really hope if you will organize such type of sessions in the nearby future.
Okay,
Really,
okay.
thanks to
Sure.
everybody. Hearty thanks to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Its credit goes to all our resource persons who enlightened their knowledge, and it's a valuable information they have shared.
Yes, true.
Research areas.
Yes.
Thankful to them.
Okay. May I request Dr. B. Rajnikant, would you like to speak? Just with very short time, within this, please close in 10 to 20 seconds per head. Very short. Or anyone? Dr. S. Deepthi?
Yes, sir. Of Engineering and Technology, Vijayanagaram, and I have attended the 5-day webinar and found very useful this webinar. Why? Because it has covered many
Okay, continue. Go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My name is Archana, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, very clear.
Yes, sir. Sir, Pradeep, sir, thank you for arranging this type of lecture, sir. Actually, it is so beneficial for us, sir. This Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management. I thank the each organization committee members and also the coordinators. And I called this Uma Maheshwar Singh, sir, also for the feedback link and everything. Sir, are you listening?
Yeah, yes, listening. Please go ahead.
Sir. From the starting day onwards, I am following this, sir. I am MSc Physics and IGNOU MCA. I am going to this research side, sir. Research side project I am doing, sir, but it is very, very beneficial for me, sir, totally in all aspects.
Thank you.
It is an interdisciplinary concept, sir. Thank you very much. And if you provide the recording sessions, then it will be useful for us, sir.
We will try.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Last one, Dr. B. Rajnikant, the last speaker.
Thank you, Archana Madam, for your feedback.
Dr. B. Rajnikant, you raised your hand. Are you willing to speak? Okay. I guess, right.
Hello. This is Dr.
Hello.
Rajnikant. I am unable to unmute actually. This is a very nice, diverse field research activity based webinar. So conducting this one is very nice and helpful for us. So meanwhile, we can also collaborate. Hello, are you listening?
Listening, yes, sir.
So collaborate all the participants, whichever are there doing the research and all, so that we can have a fruitful outputs from our research. Thank you very much for inviting me also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I would like to add something for resource persons. Because I have not shared anything about the resource person. Every resource person who has delivered the lecture, they were like gems. How
Yes.
to deliver the lecture, how to interpret the information, how to conclude it, what is the research scope, each and everything, whatever we are looking for, everything was there inside it within 1.5 hour lecture. It's less than 1.5 hours. So, and how to present it. Means sometimes we have information, but we have not a good quality to communicate and to present it. But how to present it also means they
Yes,
were
yes.
wonderful in the knowledge as well as in the communication, how to do the presentation. So you just picked up gems from the physics background, sir. I'm really thankful to all of you. Really great job. I'm very happy with the resource person. There is no one sentence for me to complete this. This is like we are showing Diya to the sun. So
Thank you,
all
thank you.
were very amazing
Right.
and good, sir. Really wonderful
Thanks.
session.
Thanks for your
Thanks
feedback.
a lot to all of you.
Right, thanks. And one more, last one, Mr. Abdu Al Khawlani. Are you from, I guess you're not from India. Mr. Abdu. Hello. Hello, Mr. Abdu Al Khawlani.
Sir, he charted, sir. Yes, he said.
I wish to listen from you. Yeah, he's from Yemen. Oh, nice. Can you speak out, Mr. Abdu? Everyone is very eager to hear from you. He's
Yeah, he is from Yemen.
yes. Can you speak out, Mr. Abdu?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much. Very nice session and wonderful session. Very useful, sir. I am Abdu Hamoud Al Khawlani from Yemen, sir. Research student at Dr. Baba Sahib University, Aurangabad.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're pursuing your PhD in Aurangabad.
Yes.
Okay. You're in India. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So, let me say a vote of thanks. We were going to conclude this session soon. Thank you. So first, I deem it an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion.
Hello.
Who is that?
Sir, is there any possibility to conduct in future this like of webinar, sir?
Sir, we will inform you. Definitely, we will keep this group. We will maintain the group.
Yes, sir.
Any such information we will.
It is very useful for researchers.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
We have such plans. We will let you know.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, right. So first and foremost, my heart goes out to thank for our respected delegates for accepting our invitation and delivering very valuable, informative lecture. I am sure all the participants would be greatly benefited with their expertise, with their knowledge. And my heartfelt thanks to the distinguished invitees present for all the 5 days. Without your support, this program would not have happened. I thank all of you for your sincere cooperation and for active participation in the question and answer session also. Really, and last but not least, I thank the moderator of this program, Mr. Monish Kumar, for all the technical support he's providing. He's the backbone of this program. He's an associate professor in our mechanical engineering department. I take this opportunity to thank him, and this is a wonderful opportunity to gather all the physics and chemistry discipline people on one platform and to gain the information, knowledge from this webinar, from this faculty development program. And we look forward to meet you all in some other beautiful occasion. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Purushottam sir, for your valuable presence and sparing your valuable time and enlightening with us once again. On behalf of the Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management, accept our deep sense of gratitude.
Thank you, sir.
For accepting our invitation and delivering your lecture. Thank you. We look forward to meet you, sir.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, Purushottam, sir.
Thank you.
One of the coordinator of this program.
Okay.
And the research scholar of Smart City.
Okay, fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Principal management. Okay. Hello. No, it's closed. Okay, sir. You can log off.